Once again, we have the DeAndre Swift free jersey autographed. All you have to do is be a subscriber for a chance to win, and we'll be giving it away to one of you guys when we hit to 2,000 subscribers. All right, we are going to be talking injuries, lots of injuries. Actually, breaking news, somebody is now out for the entire year. The first thing is, remember last week when I said grab your handcuffs? It's a big time right now. Well, the RB apocalypse is among us again. We had Cook, Swift, CMC, Zeke, all those players hurt, and some people that we need to start getting the handcuffs. We'll tell you who to get right now if they're still on the waiver wire. But let's go through some injuries first. A.J. Brown did not play this last week. He's on the IR, going to miss 3 games. It's unfortunate for Tennessee. They really need A.J. Brown. I mean, he's a huge part of that offense, and so now you're looking at Westbrook as being probably the primary target there. They're going to run a ton through Foreman and Hilliard like they did last time. So those two guys should be picked up. Who you want, it's going to be a 50-50 split, I think. It's just going to depend on who's hot and who's not. They both had similar carries anyways. Now let's get into big injuries. Now these are like first-round redraft injuries. We have Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook already had a torn labrum on one shoulder. His left shoulder, now his right shoulder, dislocated, torn labrum. I'm guessing they're going to probably do a shot in there. It's going to be a pain tolerance thing. I wouldn't be surprised if they give him at least a week off. Unfortunately, this is the nature of Cook's hard-nosed running style. Alexander Madison is an immediately pickup. He would be probably the number 2 pickup this week behind Trouba Hubbard, and we'll talk about why Trouba Hubbard would be ahead. But I think a week for Cook to see where he's at, and it's a pain tolerance thing. You could get news tomorrow he could be out for the year. You could get news tomorrow that's just going to be a game time decision, and he might miss a week. He might play this week. It could be a little bit of a mess, but again, even if he plays, I don't think he's not going to be 100%, and you're going to see a lot more Alexander Madison in there. You might even see Kene Nwangu. Yeah, one of those. He might be an option again as kind of a super deep play. And again, this is why you get your handcuffs, because running backs don't play 16 games. They're not going to play 17 games. Only one that did it last year was Derrick Henry, and no one else did it. And this is the exact reason why, because look at Kamara, now Swift, now CMC, Zeke. It's going to keep going. The RB apocalypse is going to be among us. So, and I'm going to put him in the running back category because he had 1 catch and is the wide receiver 1 on the year, or wide receiver 1 on this week. It is Debo Samuel. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, 79 yards rushing. He had a groin injury. It was almost like a non-contact injury, so it looked really bad. They did an MRI. He said it's a day-to-day, potentially a week-to-week issue. If he is out, look at Brandon Ayuk, more George Kittle, and Elijah Mitchell is just going to feast. And that's going to be a huge uptick for Elijah Mitchell. And so if you could trade for Elijah Mitchell, I would. He looked amazing last week against my Vikings, even though Harry got a pick last week. But this is a time to buy Ayuk if you can, buy Kittle if you can, and just buy any of the 3 main weapons. And if you can't, then Jeff Wilson would be a deeper stash, just in case Elijah Mitchell gets hurt. He has not shown to stay healthy quite yet. In fact, he was questionable going into this game, and he was out last week. So, again, and Trey Sermon, twisted ankle, and he looks to be, if not, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets put on season-ending IR. Next running back is Zeke. He had some knee tightness issue, whatever you want to call it. He's been worked for, and this is what happens when you get a running back who's 25, 26 years old. You see a lot of these Cook, Kamara, CMC, Zeke. They're all these 25, 26-year-old running backs, and they said he might be out for next week. It's a Thursday game. I won't be surprised if you see a ton of Tony Pollard. He would be my number 1 pickup if we were just talking about a 1-week play, but he's not my number 1 pickup in general. And in fact, a lot of these backups are going to be picked because these guys have been banged up with some issues. Let's talk about Swift. AC shoulder issue. Could be out this week, might not be. That's just kind of their game time decision. You're going to see a lot of these game time decisions. But AC issue, it's not as bad as they originally thought, so it could be a 1 to 2 week issue. He has 10 days, so that is right on the timeline. If he misses a week, I think it'll only be a maximum of next week. So just something to note. I do think Kamara now keep missing games. This is a concern. I could see Kamara doing what Joe Mixon did last year. And Joe Mixon, you saw, they just kept game time. Nope. Okay, he's going to miss it. He might be back. He's going to miss it. I could see Kamara, them even just shutting him down for the rest of the season, or just putting him on IR, and all of a sudden you're going, well, that sucks. Or you're just going to have this next 2-3 weeks, he could be out. It seems like he's been diagnosed out earlier than what you would typically want if you want somebody to come back in a week or two. So that is just some concerning news. But the number one pickup is going to be Trouba Hubbard, rookie Trouba Hubbard for Carolina, because CMC has an ankle issue, left in a walking boot, and the recent news is now he is out for the year. Oh, CMC owners, I am sorry. He has just, whether it's been ankle or hamstring or something, it's just been a bad 2-year stretch for Christian McCaffrey, who ultimately is a cheat code win on the field, and that has been a big asterisk of the last basically year and a half, 2 years, is he's just not been able to play, and that's been the biggest issue. And so if he's out for the year, Trouba Hubbard, again, you're talking about a high-end RB2 for the rest of the year, and that is not out of the realm of possibilities. I understand that Cam Newton is a frustration there, but still, I think that is a wonderful pickup there. Darren Waller, he is also hurt with a knee issue. They think he'll be back sooner than later. Right now we don't have full details. We'll probably do injury recap and details maybe Wednesday when we start, or Thursday when we start getting into the what are some of these details? Are they already being diagnosed as out? Do we get, like CMC, we didn't know how bad it was. We kind of knew it was going to be a couple week injury. Probably we leaned to it, but now he's out for the year. So you might see some of these things start popping up. And Dan Arnold, he had an MCL grade 2 sprain. So it's the inner part of your knee. That's a 4 to 6 week injury. He is droppable in all redraft formats. And I think that is it for right now. But the number one lesson to learn is grab your handcuffs. So whether you're Najee Harris owner, whether you are an Austin Eckler owner, a Joe Mixon owner, a Darrell Henderson owner, whatever you are, you need to be picking up the backup to that running back. This is playoff time. You can't afford to miss a week of a stud running back. And a lot of times, like Cincy, you have Samaje Perine, Pittsburgh, that might be a little bit harder to guess. And then Rams, you have Sony Michel as a backup. Even the Antonio Gibsons, you have J.D. McKissick, you have Jonathan Taylor, you have Nyheim Hines. Like, you have these different running backs that absolutely have to be handcuffed if the running back is available. And this is just another, 4 running backs hurt this week. We could have 2 next week or 1 next week, and it's just like you have to survive. Most people have to survive the next 6 weeks, or 5 weeks. Sorry. So we have 2 regular season games. Hopefully you have a bye, and then you have the 2 playoff games. That's what you kind of hope for. That's 4, but not most of you, but some of you are going to have 5 weeks that you're going to have to survive, and that's a third of the season. Think about how many running backs are actually left. I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to jinx on who's left because I have some of these players, but look at some of these players. We're just starting to get CEH back and Miles Sanders back, and we're starting to get some of these running backs back. But again, those are not even guaranteed. So if you see people starting to drop Darrell Williams, if you see people starting to drop Boston Scott, because Boston Scott actually outperformed Miles Sanders, but if you start seeing these running backs drop, these are good times to either pick up your handcuff or an awesome handcuff besides, holding on to some of these players that just are not going to cut it out. So you need handcuffs and start getting these rookie players. These rookie wide receivers are starting to hit. So Bateman's are probably gone. Elijah Moore's probably gone. Waddle is already gone. But start thinking about maybe trading for those as well. I made a trade for my trade Miles Sanders and Jacoby Myers for Waddle and Bateman previous to this week. Why did I make that trade? First of all, or why did the team want to trade Waddle and Bateman? And Waddle has been pretty decent and consistent at wide receiver 3 in the year. Bateman has some upside. And really the team had horrible running backs, and they are desperately in a need for a win this week. And so I took that opportunity as I am weak in wide receivers. Lamb is concussion protocol, and I had another injury at wide receiver, so it's just like I needed wide receiver, and I needed wide receiver depth now. And so now look at it. Jalen Waddle blows up, actually gives me the win in that league. I actually would have lost if I didn't have Waddle versus my replacement, which would have been Cortland Sutton, who did nothing. And so these are moves that you have to make now to get some of these rookies. Javonte Williams is going to blow up here eventually. I think Melvin Gordon still is a good play at times, but Javonte Williams is going to blow up. I guess there's not. I'm trying to think of any other running. Usually there's more rookies, but I guess Travis Etienne's hurt. He won't be back this year. I'm trying to think of any other rookies. Ramondre Stevenson is still a potential good play down the stretch. There's other rookies as well. So rookie running backs, wide receivers. Right now, this class is incredible, at least at the wide receiver position. We are seeing things that we've never seen before. We thought 2020 was amazing. 2021 has seemed to be even better. And you're like, how does it even better? Well, look at Jamar Chase. Look at what Devontae Smith and Waddle and Elijah Moore has been the number one wide receiver in all of fantasy the last month. It's just been absolutely nuts what this class has done. And we look back at the 2020 class, and it's been really good. It's been really, really awesome. But we have been blessed with these wide receivers. These are the time. And now think of this and put that towards your 2022 season. 2022 is going to be a great time, especially in redraft, to pick some of these wide receivers early. Jalen Waddle, I think, is going to have even a better year next year. Devontae Smith, I think, is going to have a huge uptick, especially if Hurts is gone. I think there's going to be plenty of wide receivers. Rondell Moore, we didn't even talk about him. Bateman next year. I think these are awesome wide receivers that are going to be drafted. Even if they look like a reach, I think you're going to get even better and better potential. I reached for Lamb in a lot of redrafts because I wanted Lamb, because I knew he was going to do a breakout. In a lot of even leagues, unfortunately, drafted Judy as well. Thought the breakout was going to happen. But also then there's Pittman Jr. and I got the breakout there. So it's you have to figure out where some of these wide receivers are and how you can get the breakouts. All right. So this is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.
Now turn up.